Deiveson Figueiredo is the bad boy. He's like the rock star that comes to town with the leather jacket included, red streak in his hair, that trashes his hotel room and steals your girlfriend and beats you up in the process.
Right.
I mean, he's that guy. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, one of the absolute most anticipated rematches that, for 2021, for me at least, is the Deiveson Brandon Moreno rematch. This one has, the last one had Fight of the Year aroma around it. I think this one could be just the same. These two guys, when they get locked in a cage, they put on an absolute show.
They sure do. And the first one was definitely one to remember. No big UFC fight fans are going to forget that one anytime soon. However, I do see this one going a little bit more in the lopsided direction and leaning towards the champ. You know, when we saw Joseph Benavidez get in there with Deiveson Figueiredo the first time, it wasn't all that competitive. And then when we saw them fight the second time, it was much less competitive, right? And Deiveson Figueiredo, it kind of showed us that once he gets a hold of somebody, gets a feel for them, if you give him a second chance to get a hold of that person and get a feel for them, he's going to make them pay bad. And while, yes, I do agree that first fight with Brandon Moreno was very good and it was competitive. It went for all 5 rounds. Of course, if somebody can last 25 minutes in a fist fight with another person, of course it's a competitive fight. But there were far and few moments where Moreno was clearly winning that fight, and there were several moments where I thought Deiveson was gonna finish the night, finish it early.
Yeah. And I find myself asking this question, did Moreno have an incredibly spectacular performance just kind of comparatively to what we thought he was going to do?
Yeah.
Or did he have a truly spectacular performance, period, end of story? And I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. He did do a great job. He showed moments of extreme heart, extreme cardio, and he landed good shots against the champ. But I think if I'm being fair in my assessment, it looked great because it was far better than I expected him to do. And I think that might have been maybe not just my opinion, but several people, and when they look back and watch the fight again, realize that yet Deiveson, while that fight did end in a draw, Deiveson did have the upper edge, and I think he probably should have been given the nod in that fight.
Yeah, and Deiveson Figueiredo is kind of the bad boy of the 125 division, and I'm here for it. I think that every division needs at least one villain, and usually you need several, but if one's a really good one, then I'm all for him taking all the thunder from everybody else. And, the first time he fought Benavidez, misses weight, so the belt's not on the line, and, he still mops the floor with him. Comes back, takes the belt, and then he fights Moreno, beats him, keeps the belt. I just feel like if the next time we see him out there, we're going to see a more complete version of Deiveson Figueiredo, and somebody who, when he has those opportunities like he had in the first fight to finish the show and finish the night early, he's going to take them and he's going to finish. When you look at Brandon Moreno, he looks like an innocent, nice guy. And even in the embeddeds and you watch any content that's surrounding him, he's nice, he's smiling, he's always friendly to everybody. And he just seems too nice to be a fighter, right? That's what Brandon Moreno kind of gives the vibe he throws off. Deiveson Figueiredo comes in with a red streak in his hair and looks like a bad guy, $1 million, kind of looks like a savage. When he takes his shirt off, he's ripped to shreds more than anybody out there. And he looks like a cage fighter, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like the perception also played a trick on all the people watching the fight and judging the fight and scoring the fight. You see Deiveson, and he looks like he's supposed to get this guy out of there, roll him up like a piece of paper, and throw him in the trash can. And Moreno's still hanging. And then he starts to make Deiveson bleed a little bit, just like he's bleeding. And then it becomes a real war. And I just feel like that sort of thing can change the perception of the fight and change the way the judges score it and see it. And even fans like us, the way we saw it. I for one, think that Deiveson has the tools to get through this and actually get a finish this time. But also, I think Brandon Moreno is going to come in and try to basically capture lightning in a bottle again, because like you said, he did fight a perfect fight in that first fight, and if he can do that again, we might end up seeing another 5-round war. But if not, I think it might end early.
Yeah, and I think Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby need some serious credit here for revamping the entire 125 division.
For sure.
This was a division at one point that people were saying it needs to be cut. It's what was the big complaint? It's boring. There's no bad boys in the division, and there's no knockout artists in the division. Well, we got both of those wrapped up in one person. Deiveson Figueiredo is the bad boy. He's like the rock star that comes to town with the leather jacket included, red streak in his hair, that trashes his hotel room and steals your girlfriend and beats you up in the process.
Right.
I mean, he's that guy. He is every bit of the champion that division needed to become relevant and exciting. And I got to be honest, since the revamping has happened at 125, it's one of my favorite divisions. Davison's one of my favorite champions to watch. And, while I do believe in the future for Brandon Moreno, I believe he could be a future champ at some point. He's doing spectacular things to increase the awareness and build the brand of MMA in Mexico. And he embodies the true heart of a Mexican warrior that all of the great boxers that came behind or before him embodied. I just don't think he's going to be able to withstand Deiveson the second time around. As you said, he's like Floyd Mayweather in that sense that if you have a close fight with him the first time, better believe the second fight's not going to be close. He's going to prove a point, and it's one because he wants to shut everybody up who said, oh, it was a rob or it shouldn't have been a draw, it should have gone Moreno's way or whatever. He wants to shut that down. And then two, just because he's got all the info he needs. He's like a computer. He's downloaded it. He knows your weak points. And one thing he loves to do is exploit those weak points.
Yeah, and he also doesn't really respect any of the fighters down at 125's power. I don't think he walks down, chin out, hands down, not worried at all about what they're going to throw at him, and he's usually slipping and making them pay every single time. Moreno just has a Mexican chin of steel, and you're not going to knock that guy out very easily. So I felt like maybe that he started to gas in that situation.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, y'all. Hold on.
Technical difficulties, guys.
Physical difficulties.
But
so I lost my train of thought there. Sometimes that's what sneezing will do to you.
Knocked it right out of you.
Yeah, it did. But no, I think Deiveson will make the correct adjustments to, you explode when he needs to, and then hold back and tame his energy when he needs to. Because if there was one complaint I had about what he did in that first fight was he started to gas a little bit towards the end, and that's why it started to turn a little bit in Moreno's favor in those later rounds. And people are like, I think he might have won that third round. He might have won the fourth round. And then, then you got a lot of people saying maybe it's 2-2 going into the fifth, the championship round. And I don't know. For me, I think this fight's going to be a little bit less competitive than the first one, but make no mistake about it. These are the number 1 and number 2 best flyweights in the world. They've revamped the entire division single-handedly, and this rivalry is only going to do great things for the flyweight.
Yeah, and even though I think we're both leaning towards Deiveson getting the victory here, possibly even in TKO fashion, that doesn't take anything away from the fact that I absolutely believe Moreno is the right guy to be back in there with Deiveson. It's not holding the division up. He did absolutely more than enough in the first fight to warrant a rematch. And so I think the UFC matchmakers did get it right, putting Moreno in there with Deiveson for the second time. And as you said, Moreno, he did miss weight against Joseph Benavidez. He did look a little bit tired at the end of the fight there. And if there's one thing that's not a point of criticism, but a point for conversation and questioning, it's how much weight is Deiveson actually cutting? Because by the time he weighs in, he looks emaciated. He looks like a skeleton of himself. And then what was the statistic with Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt? Cody weighs like 147.
142 midway through fight camp, and Rob Font's like 157 midway through fight camp.
And what did you tell me that Deiveson weighs outside of camp? Like 165 or something? Yeah,
some sources said that they talked to him, and he said he weighs about 165 when he's in fight camp.
So you've got a guy who's almost 20 pounds heavier than a guy just in natural, not in a fight camp, not in fight camp, but just in natural life, 20 pounds heavier than a guy who fights 10 pounds heavier than he does. So Deiveson cuts a hell of a lot of weight. Yeah. And I think the person who beats Deiveson is going to be somebody who wears him out and gets him in the later rounds, because you just can't do that many weight cuts like that in a row without one, having a suspect chin at some point in your career, or two, just completely gassing. So that kind of segues into, do we see Deiveson move up to 135 if he keeps doing really well at 25?
I think so, and he's going to wait for a favorable matchup. I don't know if he'll compete all that well against Peter Yan as of right now. I mean, certainly
not chin up, hands down against Peter Yan.
Yeah, you don't want to do that at all. And that's where maybe a Brandon Moreno will step in, and I could see him probably taking a vacant title. That's also where, you know, without Cody No Love going to 125 and mixing things up and cutting the line, I think that the rest of the pack, the 1 through 5ers,
Askarov, Pantoja, all of those guys, yeah.
Those guys need to start sorting themselves out, need to start creating names for themselves, and need to start calling for title shots and title eliminators. And number one, can let me be the Michael Chandler in this situation. If Figgy can't make weight, if one of these guys gets the coronavirus or their teammate does, and they can't, you know, show up, let me step in on, you know, I'll just be the replacement fighter. I think if somebody can do that, just make themselves a little bit different at 125, they will actually join the group of Moreno and Figueiredo. I don't think that as of right now there's any compelling stories at 125, but there is room for them. You know, Deiveson is definitely the champ, and he's the biggest name down there. But Brandon Moreno is attached to him, and there's no reason saying you can't attach your cart to that train and move forward with them as one of the top 5 contenders in that division.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let us know in the comments, do you agree with us or not? We think Deiveson's probably going to get the jump on the Assassin Baby in the rematch. But let us know if we're wrong in the comments, guys. We always enjoy debating with you guys down there and having conversations. It's helping to grow the channel, and we really, really appreciate it. So, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please a like, comment, and subscribe is much appreciated. And check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts. Have a great day.